All right. Hello, everybody. This is Leo Brady with AMovieGuy.com. I am really excited to be here today to be talking with the director of Pet Sematary Bloodlines, which is coming out on Paramount Plus on October 6th. This is Lindsey Anderson Beer. Thank you so much for talking with me.
Thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, wow. Congratulations on this. I really enjoyed the film. And how I like to kick off my interviews is I like to ask the subject person I'm talking to is what's a movie or a movie experience for you that sort of made you say, I want to be a director, I want to make movies.
For me, that was Jurassic Park.
You are the second person in a row to say this.
Really? Yeah,
Yeah.
it was that just even feeling the dread you get with the footsteps and the water and just those little details that you can bring to life in a movie form that you can't even get in a book in your own imagination. That to me, I was sold.
Yeah. That's a great answer. Well, and this is your directorial debut, which is really exciting. Can you sort of talk about when you get that phone call and either they're asking you, "Hey, we want you to direct the next Pet Cemetery movie." Was that something that you were just like instantly on board with, or did you sort of have to go back and study a little bit more Stephen King before taking the project?
So the process for these projects is usually, it's a little competitive. So they're talking to a few people. When they called to say, would this be something that you're interested in? My immediate was, yeah, fuck yeah. Pet Cemetery was my favorite Stephen King book as a kid. And I said, and they already had a draft of the script. I said, send it to me. They sent it to me. The producer, Mark, sent it to me maybe 5 minutes later. I had already read it an hour later, and I called them and I said, yeah, I have a million ideas already. I want to talk to you guys about it.
Yeah.
And we had maybe 6 meetings, 7 meetings, and there were a lot of meetings, and we just kept getting more and more excited about stuff every time we talked, and then I got the call, and they said, "Welcome to Pet Cemetery," and
That
that's
is, yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, that is like, it had to be such an honor. And what I love about this series is it feels like each installment becomes its own sort of thing. It's not, you're not trying to recreate what the first one did. You're trying to have your own voice in that. You co-wrote the screenplay with Jeff Bueller. Can you tell me what that process was like? And do you try to take a lot from Stephen King's book, or do you try to just even go off of things that you might think would work differently?
Yeah, so Jeff had been involved in the 2019 film, and he wrote, the first drafts of this before I was involved. And his draft is like the bones of it, and going after the Timmy Baterman piece of it is what got me, one of the things that got me really excited about The Sway In, because I loved that part of the book when I was younger. But once I came on to direct, I took on full writing duties. So we never actually wrote together.
Oh,
So
awesome.
yeah. And from there, like directing is so personal. So of course you have to like infuse all of your weird personal shit into everything. So that became lots and lots of rewrites and an intense injection of pretty much anything that I ever wanted to answer for myself from Pet Cemetery.
Yeah.
I tried to put in here, very much pulled on threads from the book. I reread and reread the book, pulled on threads because there's so much interesting mythology there, and things like, it says in the book that Jud is the guardian of the woods. It also says in the book that it suggests that Timmy Baterman is the reason that the evil goes after Jud as an older man once he kind of is a little more feeble and can't fight back.
Right.
And those aren't things that any of the movies address.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's really cool too. I mean, you've got this unbelievable cast gathered here. I mean, you probably are like, I just wanted to know. I mean, I want to list it off: Henry Thomas, Samantha Mathis, David Duchovny, Pam Grier, like the
Yeah,
legend Pam
yeah.
Grier. Uh, for you, was getting each one to sign on, or someone to say yes, more exciting than the next? And also, like, how were you able to sort of get this collective group together and make them feel like small town people, like they all sort of knew each other?
Yeah, well, I mean, the cast is so amazing, and I hope that when people see it, they'll be so pleasantly surprised that they all have real roles. It's not just like a small cameo.
Right.
Um, and casting, they were all my first choice, and so of course I was. You so rarely just submit a script and somebody says yes. um, so I was shocked and delighted and amazed when they all signed on, and for really for different reasons. I think Duchovny, the reason that I went to him was not just because he's a genre legend, but because Californication, he's such an amazing father in that, and pulling
Yeah.
off fatherly love was so important in this. And he himself in real life is a father. And he said when he read the script, he really loved it and he really connected to, this element of grief and what would you do for your child. And that's what appealed to him for the role. And then you have somebody like Pam Grier, who is such a fucking badass in all her movies, and you meet her in real life, and she's even more of a badass. But she came to our first meeting. She had all these ideas about the character already and had really thought about kind of how lived in this character was. And she, for whatever reason, Marjorie was somebody that just like lit up her brain.
Yeah.
But it was that experience over and over again. They connected to the characters. They loved the script. They loved Pet Sematary. They loved Stephen King. Pam Grier is a huge Stephen King fan, and obviously several of the actors have been in King stuff before, which was part of why I wanted to cast them, because I feel like we only have so much screen time. We need people who embody like those living legends, like they've been there. They're the old guard. You get it. Like they know shit, and that's what they represent.
Yeah, one of the really cool parts about this film too, and probably what made it easy for your actors to sort of get submerged into this universe was, I like the, first of all, you get the blood in Bloodlines part 100% correct,
Yeah,
and
lots
and
of blood, lots of blood.
lots of blood, and you get like these amazing like crafted sets of like the dirt circles and the masks and things of that nature. Talk about like bringing all of that stuff to life. I just know that that stuff's so important because your actors have to really feel like they're taken back in time.
For sure. And I think, I wrote so much of that stuff in incredible detail into the script. And I think that's partly why it was easier for people to sign on, because they could completely envision what this movie was going to be and a lot of what my vision was for it. Like sometimes you sign up for something, there's a script, it's a little bare bones, and it's like, oh, what is this movie going to be?
Right.
Um, that wasn't the case. But there are so many hidden spirals and circles. I think if people watch the movie twice, you'll be like, oh, there's one, there's another one, there's another one.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we'll talk about that blood stuff though, man. I mean, the dog. I don't want to give too much away, but somebody gets their arm pretty mangled here, and that scene alone had me like turning away. I mean, are you working with your prop guys and your and sort of the makeup team to just like make it look as authentic as possible? Because that stuff
Yeah.
you nailed.
Yes. That scene, I love that scene so much. I loved shooting that scene so much. And sure, there are prosthetics, there are bloods, there's puppets, there's handlers, there's two different dogs that do that scene.
Right. Right.
There's a lot, and there were three camera people shooting it from every angle, so we got as much coverage as possible. But there's also a real element of a growling, biting dog leaping at people, and there's an element of danger there. So it's both fun and scary.
Yeah, well, now it's equal opportunity for dogs and cats. Now, at first it
Yeah,
was search. Now it's this dog, and
yeah.
I
It's about time the dogs had their day. They.
uh, I have one last question. So I recently watched a documentary about Stephen King's work, in cinema, and I think like his movies continue to transcend and change, and everybody like really grasps onto it. So you've crossed Pet Cemetery off the list, and we need to get more women directing Stephen King stuff. So what's the next Stephen King that you hope somebody says, Lindsey Beer, let's give it to you?
Oh God, it's such a good question. I wish I just had one, but it's an honor to adapt Stephen King, no matter what it is.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I'd have to think more about it, but I'm open, universe.
I was gonna say, well, I mean, like maybe it's time for a new version of Misery, or maybe it's time for
There we
something.
go. There we
Yeah,
go.
like
Some
the
It's all
yeah,
kind of female led anyway.
it,
Yeah.
exactly. Well, Lindsey Beer, thank you so much for talking with me today. Really appreciate it. Congratulations. Pet
Thank
Cemetery Bloodlines is on Paramount Plus October 6th.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, take care.